Welcome back to Journey of Self-Awareness. I'm your host, Tato-san Harmon. Today we want to continue our discussion of spiritual practices. If you'll remember a couple of weeks ago, we learned about the importance of attitudes and having the proper mindset for starting a spiritual path. And we discussed the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, which are found in Buddhism. You'll recall I said we should be grateful for having a precious human life because this life gives us the rare opportunity to practice and to escape from our suffering and from cycles of suffering, which are an inherent part of ordinary life. That is, an ordinary life is ultimately unsatisfying and empty. For example, no matter how much we accumulate, it's never going to be enough. Moreover, our lives will soon come to an end, and when we realize that our precious lives are impermanent and fleeting, it encourages us to turn our attention to what really matters, and that is liberation from our own suffering, and liberation for the benefit of others. Furthermore, when we understand the laws of cause and effect, that is, when we understand that wholesome thoughts, right actions, and positive emotions lead to happiness while negative causes further suffering, we realize that we alone are responsible for the outcome of our lives, that it's up to us to foster self-awareness, to lead ethical lives, and to lead an authentic life, and to diligently apply ourselves by following a regular practice on a spiritual path that's ultimately going to lead to a favorable transition at the time of death. This is the path. It's our responsibility. No one else can walk the walk for us. It's up to us. We have to do it. Of course, following a spiritual path requires dedication and commitment. Fortunately, there are many spiritual practices that will take us beyond dedication and commitment to a heartfelt reverence and a faith and devotion, so that you learn to sing the praises of God and bring the divine into your daily life. This precious human life has given us the ability to discern right from wrong. It's given us the opportunity to practice morality and to seek our own liberation. But as my friend Ali said in the last video, you have to get serious. You have to remember that life is short and time is precious. As I said 2 weeks ago, there's no time to waste. There's no time for laziness, and we need to approach the path with enthusiasm. I urge you to go back and watch my videos on joyous determination, on living authentically, and my video on setting the right intentions. I also have videos on ethical self-discipline, empathetic joy, laziness, and more. I made all of these videos to help you along your journey, and I hope you'll take advantage of them. Jesus told us to build our houses upon the rock, and today I want to talk about the 3 foundational cornerstones of a spiritual practice. The first is ethical discipline. It's the bedrock of all spiritual progress. That's why I began this channel with an extensive discussion of the holy virtues, and it's why I've always emphasized integrating the virtues into your daily life. This is so important. It's foundational. It's fundamental. And it's why every spiritual tradition in the world, no matter where it may be found, underscores the importance of right living and right conduct and focusing on the welfare of others. To start off, practical ethical conduct means causing no harm. It means avoiding things like killing, stealing, hurting others, lying, and expressing negative emotions such as anger, greed, and envy. It means actively cultivating virtues like kindness and honesty and compassion. When we're selflessly focused on the well-being of others, then wholesome activities shift the needle of our lives. They move us in the right direction, and they orient us toward the divine. The Tibetans call it accumulating spiritual merit, which we can think of as positive karma, And when we engage in activities that accumulate merit, such as making offerings, practicing generosity, and unselflessly helping others, we're benefiting not only ourselves, but everyone else around us. The second foundational cornerstone of a spiritual path is the accumulation of wisdom, or accumulating wisdom. Every day you should spend some time reading and reflecting on any one of a number of sacred texts from whatever spiritual tradition most resonates with you. Wisdom is developed through study, reflection, and contemplating the nature of reality and the cause of suffering, which brings us to the third cornerstone, and that's meditation. There are two broad forms of meditation which tend to go hand in hand and which are mutually reinforcing. The first cultivates a calm and steady mind that's well suited to contemplation. Meditation develops a kind of focused attention that increases our self-awareness. For the most part, people aren't very self-aware, and if you've been following this channel, then you know how important it is to increase our self-awareness and to develop a heightened sense of self-awareness. The second form of meditation involves analytical meditation, which isn't necessarily effortful, but it is focused. It's focusing the mind on topics like impermanence, emptiness, suffering, and the importance of loving kindness and the other virtues. It's also a more or less relaxed, open pondering of events in our lives, which is related to introspection and all the other practices we've talked about having to do with looking within. So, to put it succinctly, meditation is such an important practice because it stabilizes the mind and develops insight, and as I mentioned, it develops self-awareness, which is critically important. These all lead to the accumulation of wisdom and karma, positive karma, as I said. At first, you should begin by learning to calm your mind with what the Tibetans call calm abiding. This eventually involves learning to let go and relax the mind, to rest easy and pay attention to your thoughts, but beginners may want to start off with simple breathing meditation, which helps calm the mind. Following the breath is very beneficial and it's highly recommended. When you first practice this form of meditation, of course, your mind is going to wander and it'll easily get caught up in various trains of thought. This is perfectly normal. After all, the mind has been getting caught up in thought all of your life, and so don't get down on yourself or try to effortfully control your mind. No, you have to relax. In meditation, we're using the tool of relaxation to train the mind so that it pays attention. So, at first, your mind is going to naturally wander, but when you notice that your mind is strayed, simply accept the fact and non-judgmentally bring it back to the breath. At first, you'll have to do this over and over again because the mind has a long-established habit of following trains of thought down one rabbit hole after another. So when it happens, it's okay because that's the nature of the mind. The important point is to recognize it when it happens and then very gently return your attention to the breath. I'm not going to do a guided meditation because there are already very many good videos with guided meditations. I'm thinking of videos by such experts as Thich Nhat Hanh, Joseph Goldstein, Sharon Salzberg, and Jack Kornfield. Of course, there are many others. And I should also mention that there's a growing trend in a form of meditation that's simply called mindfulness, which has been popularized largely by an academic and Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn. In fact, 60 Minutes did a pretty interesting segment on him a while back, and I'll put a link in the description below so you can watch that. The important point is that Meditation fosters mindfulness, or I suppose I should say that mindfulness is a skill we develop through meditation. That might be better. We practice mindfulness by non-judgmentally bringing our attention to whatever is happening in the present moment. This can include bodily sensations such as the breath, the rise and fall of the abdomen, the sensations of air flowing in and out of the nose, and so forth. Or you can also focus on sounds, sensations, thoughts, feelings, and actions that are happening in the present moment. As you go throughout your day, focusing on the present, of course, is important. You have to stay aware of what's happening in the present. So when you notice your mind running off to think about the future or the past, gently return your attention to the present. As I said, you're going to have to do this over and over again. And at first, when you begin meditating, I recommend that you start with short periods of perhaps 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and do it every day. 10 or 15 minutes every day is a good place to start. So with these 3 cornerstones, then, you can design your own spiritual practice. You might conduct a session in the morning and then carry it with you throughout the day, but at a minimum, your practice should include some aspect of each of the 3 cornerstones. And what are they again? 1 is an adherence to an ethical life, to right conduct, to becoming a good and better person. The 2nd is the study and contemplation of sacred scriptures or holy texts. If you want me to do a video suggesting some texts, I can do that. There are, of course, very, very many. And Tibetan Buddhism has extensive libraries of sacred texts and scriptures. And when I say extensive libraries, I mean hundreds of thousands of volumes. And the 3rd foundational cornerstone, what is it? Mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation will eventually grow to include what is called insight meditation or analytical meditation, and this involves self-reflection, introspection, and increased self-awareness. This is important because meditation helps clear the deck, so to speak, so that deeply personal and powerful insights can arise and come to the fore, can come out of our subconscious so that we're aware of them. This is what Jesus called revelations, of course, and they're profoundly powerful and deeply meaningful and transformative. They move our spiritual progress well down the path. So I recommend an initial course of study so that you thoroughly understand the important concepts. And you can't go wrong by studying emptiness, impermanence, compassion, and the 4 thoughts that turn the mind from our video a couple of videos ago. I suggest that you may go back and watch my videos. There are many videos about all these topics that I've already done. And of course, there are many resources online. You can read all about these concepts and find detailed spiritual practices if you just look on the internet. Once you have developed a thorough understanding of basic concepts, spiritual concepts, then you can begin each daily session by simply and quickly remembering the important points, like the 4 thoughts, or others. You can also focus on any one of the holy virtues in a practice session, but I definitely recommend that you always spend some time each day fostering warm-hearted loving kindness and compassion for all beings. This is important because it takes the focus off of the self and our selfish concerns and puts the focus of our practice rightly on the well-being of others. so that you're not doing it for selfish reasons, you're doing it for compassionate reasons. Also, spend 10 or 15 minutes once or even twice a day practicing mindfulness meditation and calm abiding in the present moment. You can start with the breathing exercises that I've suggested. There are many guided meditations online that will help you. And at the end of the day, you might want to spend some time journaling or reflecting on your actions or your emotional reactions that day or how things went for you generally. Remember now, it's important to remain non-judgmental and accepting. You don't ever want to get down on yourself. All of us are on the path. We're all the same in that respect, and self-care is important. Once again, I have videos on self-care and self-compassion which you may find helpful. So, a spiritual practice isn't necessarily complicated. Simply make time each day for study, meditation, contemplation, and commit to leading an authentic and ethical life that's focused on the welfare of others. You might also want to do what the Tibetans do and end each section by dedicating the merit or the value of your practice for the well-being of others, that they may know joy in the true causes of happiness. So that this again places the emphasis of your practice on the happiness of others and on their well-being and the wish that they will also attain an awakening and enlightenment. This serves as a constant reminder that you're not following a spiritual path for your own benefit, but instead you're doing it to be a benefit to others and to even the entire universe. My advice then is to use these 3 cornerstones to establish a strong and stable foundation by setting your intentions and cultivating the proper motivation, by understanding the preciousness and impermanence of life, by committing to ethical conduct and committing to a regular meditation practice. You can prepare yourself for deeper and more advanced teachings that will come further down the road. The path I've outlined is a gradual, safe, and systematic approach that will ensure steady progress and help you overcome whatever challenges might arise as you move toward the goal of your own liberation. But remember, this takes practice. It takes commitment. You have to get serious. You're not going to get there overnight, so you have to be diligent. And your progress, remember, it's up to you alone. There's no one else who can walk this walk for you. It's your own responsibility. Well, that's enough for today. In future videos, I plan to talk about various types of spiritual practices, or what I call genres of spiritual practices. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on those. And please support the channel by telling your friends about us and hit the subscribe button. Like the videos if you like them, and I'll see you next time right here on Journey of Self-Awareness. Bye-bye.